Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris Ashley, Passion for the Wild and Wonderful. What I want to do today is go over an issue I've had with my hub style pop-up blind that maybe you've had as well. And I'll go over the redneck engineering that my boy and I end up using to try to get this thing back into service. What I end up having now twice with this Ameristep, which I love the Ameristep blind. I really do. I like that it's set up with the 3 different windows practically on each side. Now I did just get another blind that I'm going to like maybe better, that is more of a continuous window around. This one gives me that flexibility some with some of the fabric that's in the interior, and maybe I'll show it. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. What this is about though is the rods that go into the hubs. I've had where one's broke before. And now previously what ended up happening was when the rod broke, it was still long enough that I was able to move it within the pockets. And then I secured it to some of the loops so that it wouldn't slide or move, and it still had connection on each end to be able to go ahead and give me the support whenever it's popped out. However, about a week or so ago, when I was setting it up, getting ready for turkey season opener, it snapped again, and now it was too short to get into the hub and then also be in the other pocket, so that whenever it arches up, that it stays embedded in the pocket and stays in the hub. So I've tried a couple different ways of fixing it, and one was I end up getting dowel rod from Lowe's, and what I end up running into is they snap, they're too brittle, and it wouldn't work. And I didn't have like a lot of extra tent rods laying around, but what I did remember was that I had on a couple different properties, where one was ours and another one was where a previous owner had left, pop-up blinds that had collapsed. And what I ended up doing was just taking a hacksaw out, and because the rods were embedded into the hub assemblies, I couldn't get them to come out, and also had some like plastic molded parts on the ends. I took a hacksaw and just carefully sawed the fiberglass, because as you get down to the very bottom of the fiberglass, it'll have a tendency to split. So what I ended up doing was going down through part way, rolling the rod over and going through the rest of the way, so that then I'm more into the center mass of the rod and it's less likely to split and then run the split down the fiberglass. But what I ended up doing was taking that extra section off of one of those, what I'll call sacrificial blinds that's collapsed, deteriorated on the ground. And so one of the things with this point is, if you do have any of those blinds, I suggest you keep those kinds of rods for this very reason. So what I end up doing is that I had those rods and the old broken rod, but still none of them were long enough. So what I end up doing was just going ahead and putting the 2 rods together, and then I just used Old Faithful duct tape to go ahead and secure the rods so that I don't get a scissor action when it goes to pop up. And I wanted to make sure that it was supported the entire length of those 2 joints, or that joint. So I taped all the way down pretty much where they're connected. That way it stays and they both flex together, and instead of, like I said, getting that scissor split action. Because what I did end up happening originally, and that's another little bit of our redneck engineering here I'll show you, is when it did break and I was trying to get it collapsed back down to be able to pack it back out, those ends were poking up through in different places and busting the fabric that I know is already broke down pretty good from UV and weather exposure. I don't leave my blinds out all year, but sometimes I'll leave it out during the length of turkey season, and then I'll break them back down. So it's definitely weakened some. But I'll show you what I did end up inside, and I'll show you what I did up on top. And maybe this is something you can do too, to save from just throwing away what could still be a good blind, just due to a simple rod issue. And the other thing is too is, yeah, I could probably have called maybe Ameristep, see if they have replacement rods, but I'm right here close to season, and this doesn't cost me really anything but a little bit of my time. So let me take you and I'll show you. All right, so I'll take you inside and we'll look here. So what you can see is here's the hub assembly. And so I am sunk in here. And then what you see is I have 2 rods. So you can see here's the second one, here's the first one. And they're running next along each other. And what I did is just took tape, spliced along them till it comes down here to the end. And you can see where the one rod stops and the other rod continues on, going into the pocket. Now what you can also see is some of our patchwork, and I'll show you here. Stop spinning around. So right here is where some of the break originally happened, and it punctured up through the top of this pop-up in a few different places. And what I saw was, just as you can see, looks like a starry sky up here, that it is kind of thinned down over time. And I wanted to make sure I didn't get any leaks or minimize leaks. Also, you can see down here, it also had another little puncture when I was trying to break it down. So what I did is took Old Faithful duct tape as well, duct taped the inside on both locations. I'll take you back outside, just stick with me here. And then up on top, I did similar. I went ahead and took duct tape, put it down on the top over the seams, tried to layer it where it will flow down. Same way up here on top. And then what I did is, I don't have it sitting right here with me that I see, is I took tint seam sealer and applied it all over the duct tape, and the areas up top, I just pretty much gave it a bath up here of that seam sealer. Again, just trying to seal it up, try to minimize water that could come down through. And while I was at it, which I'd done on my tents before as well, is I went ahead and put seam sealer all the way down the various seams to where I might get leaks and drips down on me. So, hey, I hope that you guys found that helpful. If you did, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. I'll be bringing you more content. Appreciate you all joining me here on this channel and helping. I'm hoping that I'm helping you with some of the things that I'm constantly going through. And again, my name's Chris Ashley, and we'll see you on the next video.